If I am a Ukrainian accepting a Russian passport under the barrel of a Russian machine gun, does it make me Russian enough? Good afternoon, this is Henry Keane on UATV English, bringing hard truth in easy terms for the whole free world directly from Ukraine. On September 8th to 10th, as part of the single voting day, the Russian administration in the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine organized an event that cannot be called anything else but fake. Fake Russian elections in the controlled parts of the Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia and Kherson regions and in the Crimea. These Russian pseudo-elections on the territory of Ukraine are illegal, criminal, invalid, of course. I wonder who can call a situation when one country invades the other and then announces the elections on the next territories legit. No one. It is absurd for anyone but the Kremlin and the vast majority of Russian population, by the way, that is calling Ukrainian lands theirs and approves that torturing and killing of Ukrainians. They now approve forcing Ukrainians to vote. Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, Kherson region and Crimea are integral parts of the sovereign territory of Ukraine, and no one but Ukraine has the right to hold elections to government bodies. In the conditions of martial law, in accordance with the current legislation, elections are not held at all on the territory of our country. Elections are banned during the war. Real elections to any authorities in Ukraine will take place after the proper legal and political conditions are in place. And that means victory and no more temporary occupied territories. Today, in most TOTs, it is physically impossible to run election procedures because Russia simply killed, expelled and deported a huge number of local residents who will no longer be able to cast their vote. There simply is no turnout in the occupied territories. Russian statements and actions aimed at changing the interstate border and annexing Ukrainian territories are internationally recognized legally void, not recognized by Ukraine and the international community.
Russia's sham elections in the temporarily occupied territories are null and void. They will have no legal consequences and will not bring any changes in the international status of Ukrainian territories seized by Russian military forces. By conducting fake elections in Ukrainian regions and in Crimea, Moscow continues delegitimizing Russia's legal system. Statement of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine regarding Russia's illegal elections in the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine.
Putin's Russia has long ceased to be, if ever been, an electoral democracy. Today it is a dictatorship that has ruled the country for almost a quarter of a century, simply destroying all political opponents and falsifying all elections on its own territory. And exactly that, terror, lies and falsifications, Russia is trying to bring to TOTs. Russia's pseudo-elections organization process there is accompanied by complete and absurd fakes. The number of voters, the voters themselves, the turnout, the results, all falsified. According to the Verkhovna Rada Commissioner for Human Rights, Dmitry Lubinets, among them are also Russian soldiers, military who have participated in the invasion of Ukraine, killed and tortured people. Russia is a terrorist country. So are Russian pseudo-elections that are accompanied by terror against the occupied people, forcing them to take part in this propagandistic show. Occupiers resort to forced passportization, literally by force making people accept Russian passports. If they refuse, then abductions and torture takes place.
Pseudo-elections at the temporarily occupied territories are primarily a picture for the international community. Therefore, I am turning to international partners not to recognize the results of these elections and strongly condemn them, pursue a policy of sanctions against the Russian Federation and support Ukraine, participate in documenting the fact of Russia's crimes. I emphasize that these elections are illegal. Dmitry Lubinets, the Ukrainian Parliament Commissioner for Human Rights, on Telegram.
This all staged and cruel show is oriented mainly for and to Russians. For the domestic Kremlin's audience, yes, to show if that occupied Ukrainians have approved the occupation regime and are now transferring over a mandate for power from local Ukrainians to the Russian occupation authorities. There is a real threat of bloodshed as well. Provocative action during these pseudo-elections are very possible from Russian side, having a purpose of turning things upside down and accusing Ukraine of terrorism, so to additionally sanctify the Kremlin's propaganda show and its bloody sacrifices. A byproduct of the fake elections on the TOTs is the census of the population to strengthen the counterintelligence regime and preparing grounds for mobilization campaign amongst Ukrainians for the Russian armed forces. Yes, the dream of the Kremlin, Putin's beloved fetish, is to make Ukrainians kill Ukrainians in Ukrainian lands. Dear fellow Ukrainians, while under Russian occupation, you should use every opportunity not to participate in this dangerous farce. At the time of the elections, go fishing, and fish until the voting is over. If you cannot refuse and you are under threat, then vote. The most important thing for Ukraine is your safety, life, and health. However, please note, any voluntary cooperation with the occupiers in the organization of the so-called election process is a crime. Individuals who participated in the organization of Russian pseudo-elections in any way, compilation of lists of voters, walking in commissions, observations, propaganda, etc., will bear criminal responsibility, just like those arrested organizers of the fake referendum in the fall of 2022. No matter foreign or domestic collaborators will not enjoy their positions for long. Everyone will get what they deserve by law. Remember, the occupied lands of Ukraine will be liberated by the defense forces of Ukraine. On September 6, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken visited Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. This is the third visit of the head of the U.S. State Department to Ukraine after the start of the full-scale invasion of Russia.
We will continue to stand by Ukraine's side, and today we're announcing new assistance totaling more than $1 billion in this common effort. That includes $665.5 million in new military and civilian security assistance. In total, we committed over $43 billion in security assistance since the beginning of the Russian aggression. And we're providing critical assistance for demining to help clear Russian landmines, unexploded ordnance, and other daily remnants of war killing and maiming civilians.
If Russia manages to succeed even partially, it will be a clear motivational signal, a clear encouragement to all other malign forces across the globe to solve problems through the use of force. The second argument is also, I think very simple. I don't want to sound rude, but the question is, if the West cannot win in this war, then what is the war that the West can win? And when I say the West, I include Ukraine to this list as well.
The main topic of the visit is the course of the counteroffensive, of course. The United States sees significant progress and is ready to continue investing in Ukrainian victory. Washington understands, accepts, and emphasizes even the long-term needs of Ukraine. Also, Anthony Blinken announced a new aid package worth more than $1 billion. Amongst other things, the aid will also significantly strengthen Ukraine's air defense. And the cherry on the top, the United States of America announced its readiness to hand over the confiscated Russian assets to Ukraine, which can be considered a precedent and a signal for other our partners. During the meetings, in particular, humanitarian issues were discussed as well, as the steps required to strengthen Ukraine's energy security ahead of the winter month. Ukraine invites partners to build the arsenal of the free world together. This fall, Ukraine is preparing to hold the first ever Defense Industries Forum in Kyiv, where it plans to assemble hundreds of powerful global arms manufacturers together with leading Ukrainian companies. The purpose of the forum is to unite Ukrainian and foreign manufacturers in order to build joint long-term projects. The goal is obvious. Participants will create joint ventures, form alliances, sign contracts, and discover new opportunities for mutual growth, as well as widen the repair, re-equipment, and modernization of Western weapons. Ukraine effectively continues to fight the largest and most technological war since World War II. We have unique expertise and technology, but also need the expertise and resources of partners to scale and grow. We intend to jointly produce various types of weapons with other states, as well as to create, develop and produce our own state-of-the-art weaponry. Ukraine needs to acquire real military-industrial independence to protect its political independence. Ukraine understands and acknowledges that it becomes and will remain the eastern shield of Europe and NATO states. So let us now create a proper sword to join it, for the sake of all of us. It was Henry Keane on UATV English, hoping to give you the hard truth in easy enough terms on our daily wrap-up today. Comment, like and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters a lot to us. Stay safe and tuned for more. See you very soon.